What's going on? It's your host, Zach Schumaker, and today we're going to be joined by the newest North Carolina Tar Heel. He's a top 35 ranked prospect, a four-star, and the second commitment in Coach Hubert Davis' era as a head coach of the Tar Heels. He also is the 50th highest ranked recruit in North Carolina history. The next star point guard for UNC, Seth Trimble. We got to see how you're feeling. Obviously, it's been a long, drawn-out process. You're committed a little bit earlier than some guys might typically do, but you officially found your home, North Carolina, staying within the family bloodline now, where your brother went. How are you feeling right now?
No, I mean, I feel great. I can't complain. I feel this was the best decision I could possibly make, and commit so early because COVID first of all, and then I didn't want to pass up an opportunity like this. So I mean. But, I feel great. I'm more than excited to, get on campus for good. I wish I could just get my senior year and just head on. But, I mean, super excited.
Now, as I said, this has been a long process. I know there's a lot of schools you were heavily looking at throughout this time. One most notably was Michigan. I know they were kind of in the mix for you right up until the end. So walk us through this. Like, how did you ultimately come to North Carolina, and who really was the schools in the final running for you?
So my top four were Michigan, Carolina, Marquette was a big one, and Wisconsin. But my two main officials were Michigan and Carolina, and my only unofficial was Marquette. But luckily, I had Michigan and Carolina in the same week, so I was on my Michigan visit, and then I came home for a day, went to a camp at the high school just to help out some little kids, and I went, the next day to Carolina. So it was great to really get that back-to-back campus experience because, I could really compare the best and, I could really get the right feel, after my visit. But, I mean, it was great. Michigan was a great school. Marquette was a great school. I both loved the schools, and I wouldn't have gone on visits if, I didn't like the schools. But, I mean, I just felt there was no other like Carolina. I committed to Hubert the second day on our visit. Yeah, it was the second day. It was right before we had an individual meeting, my parents and my family and Hubert, and then right after we had team dinner. But, I mean, I just felt like just everything, the campus, family, just the gyms, how they run their stuff, everything. I felt like everything was just, so much above, what I would have got at every other school. And, I couldn't pass up on the opportunity.
And this is something that you didn't get to do for the first part of your recruiting process. So
right.
How did that feel? Like you started this whole thing during COVID, talking to them through phones, Zoom calls, and now you get to go to visits, see the campuses. What was that like?
I mean, it was great. It was a great experience. I'm glad I didn't go on too many visits. I'm glad I kept it short because, it can get tiring. It can get, a lot stressful. But, I mean, the experience was great to be able to go places, to some of the places where I went, it's definitely a blessing and definitely something, I'll look back to for however many years.
Well, we're going to get more into North Carolina stuff to wrap this up, but I want to head all the way back so people can get to know your story a little bit better, that you got you to this point. So you're obviously from Wisconsin. What was it like growing up out there?
I mean, no complaints about Wisconsin. There's not a lot of distractions. I've grown up playing with like the same boys since like second, third, fourth grade. So, I mean, just had that, that second family. But, I have what I need out here. I have, weightlifting 15 minutes away, individual trainer 20 minutes away. Then my high school, I grew up around the same people. I'm still super tight with the same people, keep the circle small. But it's just, definitely no complaints. Live in a smaller town, but, I mean, Milwaukee's right next to us, 20 minutes. But, I mean, it was great. It's not like living out in L.A. or, living out in Miami or Florida or anywhere like that. But, I mean, as a high schooler, it's definitely something I can look back on and enjoy what I look back on,
On the basketball aspect, there's obviously something special brewing out there. I know it might not have the depth California, New York, or Texas might have. You look like the top guys of the past 3 years. You always start with Jalen Johnson. We know how special he is. He's going to be drafted probably lottery this upcoming draft. Then you
For
have the
sure.
2021 class. You got Pat Baldwin, who's a top 5 player in the country. Mike Foster, probably
Yep.
a top 5 pick. You got Brandon, Tyrese, the list goes on there. You got yourself, Steven, you've been playing with. You got Jeffrey, you got all the different guys, Kobe Johnson, Tyrese, the young up and coming guy out there in 2024. Like, what's it been like being a part of this new rise of Wisconsin basketball?
I mean, it's great. I feel like, it's good for the city, the recognition that, we're finally getting. And I just think, it shows, like you said, Jalen Johnson, Mike Foster, Pat Baldwin, and I mean, just so much more. But, I don't really think it's a coincidence. I think Milwaukee, Wisconsin in general is, a great basketball state. But I mean, it feels good to see, a lot of guys I grew up around, or a lot of guys I looked up to, come out of Milwaukee and just, be so successful right away. So, yeah, but I mean, I feel like you definitely can't look past Wisconsin when, you're talking about, top 10 basketball states in, the country. I definitely think we're up there.
Who has been that guy, or has there even been one guy in particular that you really love going up against throughout your basketball career so far out there?
For me, it was Tyrese Hunter. This last AAU year, me and Tyrese both super athletic, jump out the gym. We have a really similar play style. We'll shoot the ball. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I love going up against him. He was super fiery, super competitive. He could score the basketball. He really just made me better as, just as a basketball player. We had during COVID, it was hard to, get gym access last year. So we would practice together occasionally, our 16s and 17s. So I got to go up against them, a ton. And, I really enjoyed it. That's one guy I would say I definitely, really enjoyed every single matchup.
As you mentioned, both you guys are extremely athletic players. So who wins the dunk-offs when you guys have those?
We never had a dunk-off before. We never had one. I don't think it's too late. I know we'll run into each other again. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know. I'm going to say me, of course. But that's just what I'm thinking. But, I think me and Tyrese could put on, a really good show for sure.
Now, he could be a one-done guy. I think he's going to be someone that probably be 2 or 3 years and then be able to go to the NBA after that. But if UNC, Iowa State are happen to match up when you get out there eventually, what would that game be like?
It'd be fun, super competitive. It'd be fun to go at them, just like I always have. And, it'd be a really good experience, most definitely. I'm not really sure how their class is that's coming in, but et cetera. But I just know, I definitely love to play Tyrese again.
Absolutely. What's happened in this overall high school career for yourself? And you've had obviously a historic career so far to this point. Each year you've improved drastically. But walk us through this. Like, why ultimately is this the school you chose? Why was this the program you want to put yourself in for your high school career?
I grew up around these guys. Mm-hmm. I trust the coaching staff, and I see that we grow as a team and as a family, every single day when we're on the court with each other, when we're off the court, when we're in the classroom. And, it's just, a really good base and foundation. I don't want to leave. I've had the option to go preps. People would start a bunch of rumors that I would go prep, but I mean, none of that was just ever true. Yeah, I considered it, but just the guys that I have here and I'm able to play with every single day, it's one big family. So, the foundation that I've helped to build is, something amazing.
I was going to touch up a little bit on that because you being a top ranked player in the country, obviously prep schools would have wanted you on the program. So how close did you ever come to going to one, if you ever really heavily did consider one? And at what point really was that?
In all honesty, I'd say during COVID last year is when I mostly considered it. Me and my parents talked about it a little bit, but it was never, something that we talked about every other day. And we're like, we need to make a decision ASAP. It was never something like that. It's just a thought that always ran through our heads. But I mean, it was never really, like quick. And I don't know, we never really thought about it super, too deeply. Yeah.
Let's go into the overall career. You start off, you guys go a little bit under 500 your freshman year. You as a whole, you average nearly 11 points a game, really start getting the feel of high school basketball. So what was that freshman year like for you?
It was a good experience. It wasn't, well, it wasn't the best experience. Our our program in the freshman year, we weren't super close. We weren't just one. Our offense wasn't great. I kind of struggled at first to get through our offense just because how we ran it. But it was good to go through that adversity and fight against it, because as a freshman that really built like some good experience for my upcoming years. So as much as in the moment I didn't like it, the adversity that I went through, et cetera, all that is just built me up to become an even better player.
Now, if I would have told you heading into your freshman season that you're eventually going to become a guy that's going to be a top 35 prospect in the country, you're going to be able to choose from, really you can go to whatever school you want to in the country, and ultimately you have the opportunity to go follow in your brother's footsteps and become a Tar Heel at one of the most historic programs.
Yep.
Did you ever imagine that heading into your freshman season?
During my freshman year, probably not. I definitely saw myself as a freshman. I definitely saw myself as, when I'm older, I'm going to be this and that. I'm going to go here and there. Mm-hmm. And it has came true, but, I don't think I fully believed in myself until that sophomore year came around. I didn't have the best freshman year of AAU. No schools are really in contact. But, yeah, I would have believed it, but would I have, 100% been super confident about it and super surely about it? I don't think so.
So when was that point? When did you start getting the grasp and feeling, I truly do believe I'm one of, if not the best guard on the court every time I step on that court? Like, when did that happen for you?
It's definitely sophomore year. A big burst of confidence came into me before that high school year, that high school season, fall league, et cetera. But it was definitely that year when it came around. I took, a huge leap in the mental aspect of it, in the confidence part of it, and just the mentality part of it. And, I think that helped me drastically. And then, my sophomore year AU season was, it was a really good season for, I got a bunch of looks, just kind of blew up. And, that's where it kind of, really took off for me. So I think that beginning of my sophomore year was really, I just had a mental block, and, I knew once I got through that mental block, I'd be perfectly fine.
What allowed you to get through that? Like, what ultimately helped get you to that point? What pushed you through that mental block to allow that breakout to occur?
It's my family, my brother, like you said, having my parents and my brother, and I guess you could say my other sisters, push me every day. But just also, working on my craft and being in the gym and seeing the shots go in, and all that really helped. And just also just personally working on the mental aspect. I had one of Kobe Bryant's books, and I read it that sometime during it was like right before my sophomore year. But it helped a lot, because as Kobe is, he's that guy, when it comes to that mental part of the game, just when it comes to anything, he's him. So reading his book, it definitely helped a lot.
Let's hop a little bit more into your family. As I mentioned, you have a brother that's had a nice Tar Heel career, and I'm sure all Tar Heel fans know who he is. He got drafted in the NBA. He's been able to play professional now for a couple of years. But what was it like just growing up with him, having someone that kind of get to learn from, see how to go through the high school life, how to go through recruiting, college? Like, how big has that been for you, having him in your life?
It's great. Even in the younger days, being able to go to a Tar Heel game, being able to get, to go to UNC against Duke at, Cameron, just being able to experience all that, being able to experience the good, and then, being able to experience the bad, and then, being able to talk about it with him. To this day, we talk about, what I need to do, what I don't do, what just take example after him, or, just stuff like that. He's been, a really good brother with that, and, just helped me in that part of the game. And he's also helped me, on my game a lot, I'd say. Defensive part, we really embrace defense in this family, just between me and him. So, he's taught me, what the vets in the NBA have done to him, or, he's passed down a lot of advice for me in the past, especially these past couple of years, it's been great, and it's really helped me a lot.
If you could pick one thing in particular, what's the biggest thing he's helped you in?
Just the experience, telling me what not to do when you get to school, telling me, what's going to happen when you get to school, who's going to try and come at you when you get to school. So, I mean, really just that part. Because, honestly, that's one of the hardest parts. You get to school and there will be a lot of distractions. So, he's praised me about what not to do. He's praised me what to pay attention, what to pay attention to. So I definitely say that's probably, the biggest thing he's helped me on.
I know there's a pretty big age gap, but I can already imagine you guys still have played many one-on-one games before. So what do those one-on-one games look like?
Yeah, 11-year age gap. They're always competitive, though. They're always competitive. We usually always get in fights. And, I used to not, scrap back at him a lot. I used to just let it live because it's big brother. But, it gets – when we play now, it's super competitive. It's super physical. We talk a lot. We always go back and forth. But I mean, it's great. It helps me a lot. And, being able to play against, an all ACC defender, one of the best defenders I've ever played against, it's really helped me be able to work on my craft. And it's really just helped me as a player overall. But yeah, it always gets competitive. I've only beat him once. But the one time I beat him, it was a little silent for it was a little silent for the rest of the day. Yeah.
So you have got a W against him before, though?
I have got one before. Yep.
So when that go down, was it recently? Was it a while ago? Like, when did that game go down?
It was last year during COVID. We were in the falls. We were here because I spent a lot of time in Florida last year for during COVID. Mm-hmm. But we were here. It was I think it was June, and we just had some non-contact days at the high school. And then after, my brother came up to shoot, and then me, him, and my cousin played ones after. But it got super competitive between me and my brother, and I ended up winning 2 out of 3 of the spots. So that's the only time I've ever beaten him before. It felt good, but then right after. Right, I didn't say nothing about it, didn't brag about it or anything. Kept it cool.
How many times have you guys played since that time?
We haven't played a lot, actually. Mm-hmm. We've been in gym together a lot, but we're lifting or we're just shooting around. But I don't think we've played ever since. We might have played once. I don't know. That hasn't been a lot, though. We haven't really gotten a chance to. He went overseas last year. It was shortly after COVID, because COVID in Israel, it calmed down very quickly, so he was there. I forgot when he left though, but it was pretty soon, and he just got back, so we haven't played a lot since then.
He had to be pretty old because, like you said, it's 11-year gap between you guys. So at what point would you say you started feeling a little bit more confident when you play? I'm like, when did the games kind of start really getting competitive?
Last year, I'd say. That's when I would start to talk back too while we would play. So that's what really made it really competitive. Yeah.
You also got the experience you pointed out a few times where you got to see him go through his college career at North Carolina. So you got to be around Coach Roy Williams. You got to be around Marcus. You got to be around a lot of these guys that were very successful during that tenure there. So how was that? Like, you're a young kid. You get to look up to these guys. You kind of get to watch these guys play day in, day out, especially more like Marcus at a guard position. How was that? And just take us through your time just being able to watch your brother and that North Carolina squad run.
Marcus, I remember watching Marcus all the time. Marcus was amazing. I mean, yeah, I was a little kid. I was 6, 7, 8. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I still remember those games where I just see Marcus Page just take over in the second half, hit the off-balance jumpers, the pull-up threes, just everything. And, me, I knew who I was when I was little. I knew I was a guard, blah, blah, blah. I knew who to watch. So just watching Marcus, as when I was that young, it was just, it was amazing to watch. And at that age, I really looked up to him.
It's kind of putting you on the spot, but who would you say is the top 5 all-time North Carolina point guards?
Let's see. I have to put Raymond Felton, Ty Lawson, Phil Ford, Kenny Smith, and then there's one more. I don't know. Who would you put for that last one?
I'd say probably would be between probably Joel and Marcus, probably. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, definitely Joel or Marcus, for sure. You could put Kobe or Anthony in there, but you think just because they're too fresh out of college? Yeah. I think besides Cole and Anthony, I'd say Joel or Marcus for sure as that fifth spot. Yeah.
Ultimately, we know that you're going to have a career there, rather be 1 to 4 years. Who knows how long it's ultimately going to be in God's hands. But for you, when you look at that, that's a long list of point guards that have made the jump to the NBA level, have been successful professional players, all ACC teams. Like, these guys are historic all-time NCAA players. That's going to be your goal.
Right.
I think people have expectation that you're eventually going to replace Caleb Love, rather be your freshman year or sophomore. Like, that's kind of the guy you're going to come in for. So when you do create that tenure and you start going out there and creating your Tar Heel legacy, how do you kind of chase that? Like, is there pressure? Is there kind of confidence? Like, what kind of goes through your mind when you think about possibly trying to put your name in that category?
I think, it's an honor, to be honest. Caleb Love's a great point guard, and all the point guards who came before him, being able to come in and, be the next point guard if I put in the work and, just it's really an honor. It's crazy to think about because I could be that next guy. So, whenever I think about it, it just splits my mind. Yeah, it's really an honor, though.
Absolutely. Well, let's hop back into your past season of high school. You guys go out there, your best overall as a team year. Yourself, obviously, you blow up this year as well. Once again, 17-8 record. You average 23 points a game, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 2 steals. Take us through this junior season.
The junior season went really well. We knew as a team aspect, that this year was a huge year of improvement. And, we had a great chance of winning state. We didn't win state, but we went far. But, this year we had a solid team. It was a team full of juniors and seniors. 4 of our starters were juniors. So we'll have a great load of guys coming back next year. And then 1 guy was a senior. But, it was great. This year was amazing. We like to play fast, and a lot of teams in our conference play, that fast game. We had a really packed conference this year in Wisconsin. It was definitely the best conference in the state. But we just every game our goal was, to play fast, run teams out the gym, get to the basket, shoot the ball, play great defense. Just really just play our best game every game. It's a simple game plan, but that was our game plan. But this year, it was a huge leap for us. Our sophomore year, we went 10-12, and then we lost first round of regionals, I believe. Then just our junior year, we made a huge leap. Went far, lost in the sectional finals. But it was a really big improvement for us. And for next year, we look to do the same thing. We want to go from 17-8 to. We don't want to lose a game next year. That's our main goal.
There was one thing you guys had to deal with playing out there in Wisconsin, that was wearing a mask. I know a couple of different areas and states and schools required it, but how did you adjust to that? I know I've heard too many guys liking that. So how did you adjust to it, and what was like playing with a mask this year?
I hated it. I hated it. I didn't think I adjusted to it well that week when we had practices. I would struggle. Like masks would always come down, and some refs were really chill about it, but there was other refs. You keep your mask down, they're calling a timeout, subbing you out the game. Gotta wait like 2 minutes to come back in. But I hate it. It was a huge adjustment. Whenever we sweat, just masks get soaked, and you have to switch them out. But I guess I can't complain because it helped me with my conditioning, whatnot. But it was definitely something that was, different. It's kind of like NBA players with the bubble. You never want to experience again. Yeah.
So now you've got back on the court playing some AAU stuff. You don't have to wear it no longer. How does it feel to get back to just playing basketball the right way now?
It feels great. Basketball, of course, AAU is just naturally faster. It feels great to just, get out and run and, try and run teams. And, it's also fun having, one shooter to the left. the best guys in the state you're playing with in the AU team, especially, on an EYBL team like mine.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it feels really good. It's coming to an end. It's coming quick, but we're super excited to get out to Peach Jam. We're looking to make a great run, and I mean, just only time can tell where we're gonna go. But main goal is to win it all.
And that is a huge thing. You're coming back out after this little break for high school ball, coming to July now. You're gonna be playing in the Peach Jam eventually. So take us through that. Like, how excited are you for that? To have your final games of AAU basketball. Like, what are you looking forward to over the next month or so?
Yeah, we're super excited. Especially for my teammates. I think it's gonna give a lot of opportunities for them, and a lot of exposure. I think it's going to give them some huge opportunities. Of course, I don't have to worry about, trying to impress other schools besides, my one school. But, I mean, that takes, a big load off of me. But, I just ready to go out there and play, compete. We'll have a shot clock, so games will be faster, get up and down the court quicker. But, I mean, just the main thing I'm most excited about is just, getting my team that opportunity.
You also have kind of formed a great dynamic duo in high school now with Steven. You guys have been together for a long time. What's it been like kind of playing with him, building that dynamic duo? He's a high-level Division I player as well. What's it like kind of forming that duo with him over your high school career?
It's been great. It's just me and Steve have had that, connection since we were in second grade. We've been playing with each other, same school. But I mean, it's been great to be able to play with him. It's amazing. Steven's is a great scorer. He's a great rebounder for his height. He's 6'4". He averaged, I think it was 10, 11 rebounds. Maybe it wasn't that high. But, I mean, it felt like he averaged 10, 11 rebounds in our conference. But, I mean, it's great to play with Steven. He shoots the lights out of the ball. He's a really good shooter. He didn't shoot the best from our high school season this year. But, I mean, I don't think his high school stats solidify, how Steven actually is as a player. Steve, he was hurt this year. He had a bone contusion at the end of the season. So it created some big adversity for our team, to play without him. But, I mean, just these past couple of years, being able to play with Steve, and it's just been great. It takes huge load off of me. We share the ball great with each other. And, I mean, just we play great with each other. And it's my favorite teammate ever, for sure.
There's something else unique about you. We touched up a little about you blowing up statistically, but you also have grown up in rankings too. And that's something that personally, I don't really value rankings too much where people want to put different guys, but you have seen that boost now. You were not even a top 100 prospect a year ago, right on the edge of like 109-ish range. Now you're going to be top 35 pretty much everywhere. I think ESPN, when they update you, will probably top 35 as well. But walk us through that. Like, how much did you ever value rankings growing up? And also now, what's it like just knowing that you are getting the respect that you deserve?
No, it definitely feels good to get that respect. Like you said, it happened, and COVID. I was, I don't even know where I was at, but then all of a sudden, great AAU year, boom, I'm 109, and it's okay, keep working. I had an amazing spring, amazing high school season, and then it feels. I mean, rankings don't say who you are, but it feels good to get that respect, most definitely. So it is a blessing, but I know that's never gonna, solidify me of who I am. So I just know I got to keep working, to improve that spot each and every day and just improve myself as a player each and every day.
Let's hop into this whole process now. I know we've kind of looked into the recruiting aspect a little bit earlier on to start this, but let's head all the way back. About a year ago, you guys just started being able to talk to coaches through Zoom, calling and whatnot. So
right.
Obviously UNC officially came and offered you about May 19th, just around that time. And now you also commit there. But if we head back a year ago, like what schools were you really liking? Like who were some of the schools you really were considering heavily going to a year ago?
A year ago? Really have no idea. My only offer was University of Milwaukee. And I guess that was my only choice at the time. Last year of June, my only choice was really July. Yeah, COVID happened and everything, but I saw myself as a high division player, high major player, of course, but I just didn't know what school because I wasn't in talk with any of them.
So have you taken that in yet? Because it's only been a year or so that you've gone from one offer to a decent scores a low mid-major type level to now being a highly recruited player across the country from pretty much anywhere that you really wanted to go to. Have you kind of soaked that in yet? Like, have you even realized that yet?
Yeah, I have. I definitely have. I think it really hit me most when I committed that night. I was just in my room, just, chilling. And, I just thought about, how far I've came from just months ago, from last June. I thought about how far I came. And, it's just, it's just one big blessing, it's just all through God, the work I'd be able to put in, the work I have put in, the results that have shown from it. So I have thought about it really, and it's hit me most. It hit me most the night I committed, for sure.
Well, we head back into recent times. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, you were almost in a lot of people's minds, almost a lock to Michigan. Obviously, you didn't say anything like that, but was that true? Like, were you really close to ever going to Michigan? If so, how close did that ever get to happening?
I mean, I love Michigan. I was close, I'd say, but I was close to going to Carolina. I was close to going to the University of Southern California. I was close to going to Marquette. Freshman year, it was when I was just like not ranked at all. Nobody. I went to a game and I brought up Michigan in an interview, and I said I'd love to go to Michigan. And I learned from that. Deeply, because that's carried on. That one thing I said from freshman year all the way until now, and I think that really put a ton of false information into people's heads. I'm not saying that I'd never consider Michigan, because it came down between Michigan, Carolina, Marquette, etc. But I mean, I don't know. I think if I went to Michigan, if I wanted to go to Michigan, I would have went to Michigan. But I just think I couldn't pass up on the University of North Carolina. I just think, it was the best opportunity for me, the best campus for me, and really just the best everything. I wouldn't go to a school where I couldn't see myself at, or I wouldn't go to a school where I went to and I said, man, I could have gone to this school and be even better. I just, I wouldn't do that to myself, because I know this is my future. So yeah, Michigan was definitely a top choice, but they were never the choice. I never had a choice until I announced my commitment.
Kind of going a little bit off that, something I would never ask guys when they're going through process, because as you said, if someone says that they want to go here, they like that,
right,
it's going to carry on for a while. But
right,
if you are committed, now that we know where you're going, you're heading to UNC. Was UNC your dream school? Was it Michigan? Like, who was the school that you grew up loving and watching growing up?
The school that I grew up loving was definitely UNC. A school that I grew up watching a lot was Michigan and North Carolina, and grew up watching Duke a lot. I grew up watching all those schools, all the high major schools that were always great. But I mean, that one school was definitely UNC for me. Being able to see my brother go there, being able to see all these point guards who have gone there and just done so well. Just all the success at Carolina. It's just, there's no doubt in my mind that, that's always been my dream school. But of course, I can't say that, during the whole recruiting process, because, North Carolina never came. Who knows, Yeah.
So now, as you said, you kind of go where you go back to back. You get the Michigan visits in, and you obviously head out to UNC, and that's where you decide where you're going to be attending. So walk us through this couple of days span there. Like, you get to go to different states or on these visits now. How much did you enjoy Michigan after that visit? Like, what were your thoughts on them? And ultimately, then, how did Coach Hubert Davis win you over during a visit?
I really enjoyed Michigan. It was a really quick flight. The campus was nice. Everything was nice. Then it was great to be able to go to Chapel Hill, the day after or whatnot. But I mean, just the second we stepped on foot at Carolina, it was great. I mean, Coach Brad came and Coach Hubert came to pick us up. That was one thing that was huge. But I mean, just the dinner that night, the first night was it was just the energy and the vibe was amazing. We went to a steakhouse, etc. But we were with all the coaching staff and a couple of the former players. Well, we were with Puff Johnson. Sorry, that was the only player. But we were with a couple of former players. Bryce Johnson was there. I forgot who else was there. But I mean, it's just that family aspect that, that I felt. It was amazing. And what really won me over, I think, just being able to walk around Chapel Hill, being able to just be in the Dean Smith Center, being able to to know that I could be playing there every other night. I could be practicing there every other night. And, just the legacy that's been left in, the Dean Smith, I can carry that legacy on. So I don't know what really sold me over, I just think, was just North Carolina overall. And Coach Hubert is an amazing coach. His plans for next year, he spent time in the league, it's great with his guards. So I think, he builds a great relationship with every single one of his players. So I just really think, that was a huge opportunity. I just couldn't pass up on. Yeah.
Obviously, I can imagine it's huge for your brother. He gets to go out there and see you now following his footsteps. He gets to continue to root for UNC. But what was his thoughts on this? Did he want you to UNC? How did he kind of balance ultimately find the best fit for you? And just what was also his reaction when you did just finally decide that you're going to become a Tar Heel?
Yeah, my brother, he didn't try to persuade me to go UNC. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he probably wanted me there. But before I committed and before we even went on our Michigan visit and even our Marquette visit, his whole mindset was, I'm going to help you find the best school. I'm going to help you find what's the best fit for you, et cetera, et cetera. He didn't just push me to go to UNC because that's where he went to. Mm-hmm. But his reaction when I committed, I actually committed to Coach Hoops. We were in the car. And, I kind of didn't even mean to, but we were in the car earlier that day. We were going to Sutton's. Sutton's is a really famous restaurant on Franklin Street. And I told him, I was like, Coach Hoops, how do I tell Coach I'm going? And then he kind of looked at me. He was just like, what? And then I was like, how do I tell Coach Davis I'm committed to your school? And then I just heard a big old scream from my brother, heard just a bunch of claps from my parents. When we got the car, my dad gave me a huge hug. Coach Hoops went crazy about it. So it's just the energy I felt. It was something that I'll never, ever forget from my brother, from Coach Hoops, from my parents. And then, even from my little sister. Me and my little sister fight a lot. But during that time, she gave me a huge hug. But, it was great. So, he was really proud of me. And he kind of knew. We talked about that night. He knew the second I stepped on the campus of North Carolina that, I was going to love it. But, of course, he didn't tell me that because he wanted to have me experience it myself and just enjoy it. But, no, his reaction was amazing. It was really super personal for sure.
You didn't really talk it through with your parents yet. It all of a sudden just hits you at one moment and you're like, okay, I need to come here.
Well, throughout the whole day, just being in the facilities, walking around the campus, I knew in my mind the whole day that, I'm coming to this school. Just the biggest thing for me was, when was I going to tell my parents? When were I going to tell Coach Davis? When was I going to tell the rest of the staff? Mm. And it just slipped out. Really, I really didn't even mean to say it, but it really just slipped out. And so it's just meant to be.
Absolutely. Well, obviously you weren't ever able to play for Coach Roy Williams. Obviously, Coach Hubert Davis' first year, but you got to be around Roy Williams a little bit. You got to see, obviously, from your brother's experience. So far, what would you say some of the similarities and differences between Coach Roy Williams and now Hubert Davis?
I just say, I really don't remember too much of Roy's coaching as, seeing it in person because, how young I was. But I could just say, how they're going to play the game. Coach Davis is switching up UNC's offense into a 4-out, 1-in. Mm-hmm. And it's not how Coach Roy ran. Coach Davis still has, the same similar tendencies. He wants to get the ball down the court, wants to score fast, score out in the open. But for me, the biggest change is the offense because, like I said, I was so young. And I haven't really talked to my brother about what Coach Roy did as a coach or anything like that. So I wish I could tell you, but I really just don't know. I know Coach Roy is a great person. Though. Actually, when we were on our visit, he came down. He heard we were there, and he was coming in from Tennessee. So JP was with us. He heard about that. So he flew in, and we saw him the morning of when we left, and we sat down and spoke to him for a good 20, 30 minutes. And it was just, it was really personal, really humble. And it was an amazing experience for me, for sure.
So what makes Coach Hubert Davis so special? Because he's obviously stepping into big shoes to fill, one of the most historic programs out there, and also one of the greatest coaches ever, Roy Williams. So it's not an easy job, but what makes him so special? And why do you feel like he can be the coach that can continue this legacy and continue making UNC as elite as they are?
I think one thing that makes him really special is, how he just connects with his players. The connection he had with my brother, the connection he had with, some of my brother's teammates, and just some of the guys at campus on the team were telling me, just the connection they have right now. It's great. So I think that's a big thing. I think he's really personal. He doesn't coach every player the same. He's not like an old school coach where, I'm going to talk to you how I talk to you, and then talk to you how I talk to you. He knows how to come at everybody, and he knows if it's a different way, he'll come at it in that different way. And I think that's great. But he's really experienced. He's been under Coach Roy for a long time. He played in the NBA for a long time. He's just been around the game for forever. So I think I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to do a great job these next however many years he's here. I'm sure it'll be a very long time.
UNC fans can get to watch as much film as they want about you, but ultimately, you know yourself better than anybody. So what will you be bringing to UNC when you step foot on campus in 2022?
This is a great point guard that's, ready to play, that's ready to make a difference. Ready to do the things that, will bring UNC a national championship,
I know you also are, guys, athletic, as you mentioned. You can score, you get downhill, facilitate. But we talk about some of the other great UNC point guards in the past. Who would you say is the point guard that you compare yourself to the most? Like, is there one that you think you play a lot like?
I see some similarities between me and Cole Anthony. Cole loves to score off the dribble. Mm-hmm. I love to score off the dribble. Cole, super athletic. He gets down with an open lane. He's going to dunk on you, Like, I'm the same way. So, one point guard. I remember a lot from Cole because Cole just came out of Carolina. I remember watching him. I watched him every game. So I think that's one guard definitely where I see some similarities in.
So you're part of 2022. Will Shaver's already committed out there. Have you got to talk to him yet? If so, where's your relationship at with him?
I've talked to Will. He got my number. And it was shortly after I committed, he texted me. Mm-hmm. And energy from Will was great. I'm definitely so much more before you get on campus. Hopefully we can get on, some visits together just at the same time. But, I just tell I'll have a great relationship with Will. He's a great guy. And the way he texted me, he's very personal. And I could just tell he's a really good guy.
I know there's going to be quite a few more pieces that come in. I don't know if it's going to be through transfer portal after the season or what they're going to look at. But from guys in 2022, who else do you want to play with? Like, is there anyone that you want to recruit to play with you at UNC?
Oh, definitely. Jalen Washington is one guy that, I'm on. I'd love to have him. Isaac Trout is another guy who, I'd really love to have. And, there's a bunch of other guys where, I'm definitely going to try and put some pressure on them for sure and, persuade them a little bit. But, even in the 23 class, I know Rob just was on his, I think it was an unofficial visit or if it was official. But, yeah, I know I've always paid attention to him. I love the way he plays, Mm-hmm. And that's his hometown. I'm definitely going to try, get on him, But, yeah, definitely have done a little recruiting myself in this 2022 class.
Let's say we get you and Will to team up then with Jalen and Isaac. How special would this 2022 class be?
Very special. Those guys, they're all big, but they can all score off the dribble. They can all, get down the floor. They can all make the right play. And, I just think, we can get some of those guys. It's just that'll make, it'll be a really big, game changer for us.
I know there's a lot of great teams in the ACC. I have a feeling I know who you're going to say for this, but who is the team you're most excited to go up against in the ACC?
Duke, for sure. That rivalry, it's one of its own. I don't think, there's any other that can compare it to the Duke and UNC matchup. Being able to go to UNC and watch UNC and Duke play at the Dean Smith, and then being able to go to Cameron Indoor, watch UNC and Duke playing at Cameron Indoor. It's just something like no other. And even watching it on TV, you feel it. You feel like you have to choose a side, root for that team. You just feel it. And I really think there's no other like that. So that Duke and UNC matchup will definitely be what I'm most looking forward to.
Absolutely. Well, a couple more things before I let you go. One of which I was wrapping up is discussing a legacy. And I know all guys want to build that. So when you do step away from this game someday, what do you ultimately want to be remembered for what you achieved both on and off the court?
On the court, I want to be remembered for just, making my team better at every single level. I want to be that point guard who can come in and just, make a great change for the team in whatever way it needs to be. And off the court, I want to be known as a role model, of course. I want the little kids to look up to me. I want when I'm old, the teenagers to look up to me. I love that just because when you have that, you're a good role model. So definitely just being a great role model off the court with, respect, just all that is definitely something that, I love to look forward to off the court.
Without a doubt. Now, and also being a believer, kind of take us through your faith a little bit. How has God helped get you to the point you're at today?
I'm a strong man who, firmly believes in him. I pray to him every night, very often. I always change up the prayer too, whether it's, something about my family, whether it's something that's happening, whether it's something at basketball. I ask him to make me stronger, help me become a better man every night, which is, I truly think it's something that helps me and, helps me succeed.
Where would you say has been the biggest moment that you've seen God show up in your life so far?
I'd say me committing to, such an amazing university. I think this is really all possible with, God's help and God's strength, and, just glory goes to him. So I really think that's the biggest moment in my life where I've experienced him.
I know a lot of people that grow up even in a Christian household is that you kind of are grown into it in a sense, but when would you say you started really trusting in him? When did you start forming your own relationship with God?
Forming my own relationship, I'd say last year. I think it's definitely been recently. Mm-hmm. I think last year and this year I really took a bigger step to it. But yeah, last year I definitely started to build, and I just started to believe in my own and, separate myself from others and build my own relationship with him. And I definitely think that started about last year, but it's been really consistent and stronger this year.
Absolutely, man. Well, a final thing for you, give UNC fans your 3 biggest goals you have set for a UNC career.
I want to leave a legacy behind at UNC. I want to bring, a ship home to Chapel Hill. And, I want to be the best player I can to, really help UNC succeed the most with however many years I'm there.
Absolutely, man. Congratulations on the big commitment once again, man. I'm excited to see what God got next for you and appreciate you taking time to come on today.
No, I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. You're welcome on, man. God bless.
God bless you.